What it do, bruh? Talk of the town, Nintendo, Doc Trey still holding it down, still make the best games, and you know this, bro. It's the truth. If you don't like it, you can have that seatbelt.
So, Happy New Year and welcome to the year of 2025, the year of the release of the Nintendo Switch 2. So, last night, we had something very interesting happen. It appears that pictures leaked of the Nintendo Switches die. Like, pictures of the actual chip this time. And there's a big meltdown going on over the internet right now because these pictures seem to confirm that Samsung is handling the Switch 2's chip and not TSMC. And a lot of people are having a meltdown over this. Now, what it doesn't confirm is that this will be an 8nm chip because Samsung has more than 8nm chips out there. They have 5nm chips, for example, 7nm chips. So it doesn't confirm that this is going to be an 8nm chip. But it could be. And a lot of people out there for the last year or two have been saying that it's impossible. There's no way. There's no way that this could be an 8nm chip. There's no way. So with today's news, they are shocked. And they shouldn't be shocked because there was always a possibility that this chip would be a Samsung 8nm chip. Why? Because the chip that this thing is based on is 8 nanometers. So it was always a possibility. And I actually earlier this year tried to prepare you guys for this possibility. But apparently people watched that video or didn't watch that video. And that's why you guys are having a meltdown right now. So now that it looks like it is an extreme possibility that this could be an 8nm Samsung chip, it's time to revisit that video again. And maybe this time, people will listen. Roll that beautiful beam footage. So the Nintendo Switch 2 8nm process rumors are back again. And people are going crazy because they're worried. And I made a couple videos on this topic last year. But I think the last part of my first video on this topic may have went over a lot of people's heads. And I think the point that I was trying to make was very interesting, and maybe it's something we need to revisit right now. So roll that beautiful beam footage and let me know in the comment section what you think about this after you watch this. Now, like I said, there was a lot of discussion going back and forth where most people in the know said that this chip pretty much had to be manufactured under a 5nm process or lower. Otherwise, it will result in Nintendo having to significantly clock down this chip and we would lose out on performance. Now, I'm not going to act like I'm an expert in this field because I'm absolutely not. But it seems to me that since the Switch 2 Tegra T39 is based on the Tegra T34, the Tegra T34 has a lot more Steam processors and a lot more other things in the chip that the Nintendo Switch 2 version won't have. Like, for example, the Switch 2 chip is supposed to have, I think it was 1,536 Steam processors versus I think it's 2,048 that the original chip has. So you're going to be already missing 1/4 of the Steam processors, along with all of that other smart car related stuff that is not going to be in the Switch 2's chip. It seemed that just from that alone would make the chip smaller. Add to the fact that you're also going from a chip that originally had 12 cores to one that will now have only 8 cores on a single cluster. The Switch 2 presumably has an 8-inch screen, meaning that the system's probably going to be even bigger than the Switch OLED, which was already bigger than the regular Switch. When you factor those two in, the Switch 2 being bigger than the regular Switch and the Switch OLED, and the chip that the Switch 2 uses is significantly cut back from that larger T34 or T234 orange chip, it seems like that alone would kind of fix that problem with it being 8 nanometers, because it seems like that would already make the chip smaller. But I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments section? To me, that seems like those changes alone would make the chip smaller, unless I'm missing something here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Alright, so we're going to discuss this new Switch 2 rumor here for a few minutes. And the new rumor is that supposedly the Nintendo Switch 2 will have an additional fan in its dock. Now, the original Nintendo Switch, as you know, the dock was just pretty much just a piece of plastic with USB and HDMI compatible inputs and plugging up to an AC adapter. Like, it was a piece of plastic with some ports. No fan. But apparently the Nintendo Switch 2 may have an additional fan in its dock. And people are trying to decipher exactly what that means for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, we know that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be larger than any of the Nintendo Switches, including the Nintendo Switch OLED. We know that the screen will be even bigger than the Nintendo Switch OLED. We know that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be significantly more powerful than the original Nintendo Switch. So that alone would more than likely mean that the Nintendo Switch 2 would need a more efficient cooling system. Now, would all of those factors alone there mean that the Nintendo Switch 2 would necessarily need a separate fan in the dock? Probably not. But people are trying to understand why that second dock would be, or second fan would be in that dock. And there's a couple reasons there. A fan being in the dock could imply that maybe for the Switch 2 in dock mode, maybe the Switch 2 is actually running at much higher clocks than anticipated. But I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second, so to speak. And with the Nintendo Switch 2, there's been long rumors that the Nintendo Switch 2 would use an 8 nanometer chip. The chip, the orange chip that the Nintendo Switch 2 is based on, is 8 nanometers. And there have been rumors that the Nintendo Switch 2 would be sticking with 8 nanometers. And there's also been rumors that it wouldn't be. And I've found clues pointing to both 8 nanometers and even 5 nanometers, as you guys have seen. But the thing that's interesting to me about this rumor is that the main reasoning that the experts have given us as to why 8 nanometers for the Switch 2 wouldn't work was that, given the expected performance and the leaked information that we have of the Tegra T39, that it would be virtually impossible to reach these performance targets at 8 nanometers because, and I quote, the chip would run too hot. So now we have a new rumor that there might be an actual separate fan in the Switch 2 dock. So maybe, just maybe, the reason that there's a fan in the dock is because the chip is 8 nanometers.